Good luck. Hello, what's up, everybody? We got a stream on, not yet. Here we go. Looks like we're up and running. What's up, everybody? How's checking on the stream? All right, streams are up and running. So I made a video on Saturday. I posted it on YouTube saying, how grim are things? What's my outlook? What am I expecting? We saw a dip come down on Monday, and it got bought up at some levels that I highlighted from that video. And meanwhile, we dipped lower again on Tuesday. All right. So that being said, where are we today, and what am I expecting, and what I'm seeing on the S&P? I still think, based off last week's streams, I still think the S&P is going to lead the way, right? So if we're in a risk-on environment and we bottom out on the S&P over here, then I think it's going to reflect on the rest of the market. So cryptos are going to rally as well. But if S&P goes over here and we lose support, then I'd expect a little bit of a liquidity grab from all assets. In terms of support, what I'm seeing here, I showed this in Discord this morning, is that we're seeing these liquidity levels want to play out on the ES, and as of now, it's still holding above that 41.94. Really reminiscent of previous periods that we've seen, right? Really reminiscent of what we saw in 2018. Really reminiscent of what we saw during the COVID dip, right? So this was 2018. We zoom out, it kind of looks like a similar extension play playing out. COVID dip, very similar as well. And another thing, from Saturday, I mentioned that earnings are going to be big this week, right? That's what's going to be able to save the market is good earnings. And if we don't get good earnings, then we're probably going to see the market tank, right? Dump down a little bit. And yeah, so as of now, I'm still wanting to see that the S&P hold support at 41.94. That's where it needs to hold, right? We need to establish some kind of bottom, start doing this corrective move back up. Most ideally, that's the case. And there's a lot of other indicators, like we're below my moving average that I use on the daily, that red line that saved us previously. So we're below that level, right? And that doesn't look very promising. But then again, we can trade below it. It's done that before, right? The ES has done that before and continued rallying. It could come back up and pull into more of a trap before continuation, right? I think it's going to be a 50-50 in terms of what to expect right now. I know that, the China slowdown is not really helping in terms of supply chain, but it's just going to make things more expensive, right? It's not really going to, help the Fed achieve their goal of reducing inflation, the Chinese lockdown, right? The war is not helping either. Sending money to Ukraine is not helping. So there's a lot going on that's going to, let's say, not derail efforts, but curb the efforts to slow down inflation. And that's kind of where we're at, right? Which is going to be good for asset prices, right? As long as we're still in inflation, we're going to see assets go up, like BTC, Ether, S&P, and so forth. We're still going to see asset inflation. Also in my video, I had drawn this trend line, right? I did this trend line from this high up here, right? And it's where that S&P had rejected previously, and then it flipped into support, and it was at 41.20, 41.25 or so. We're getting close to there. I don't know if this is gonna fall straight through. I'm still net long, which is like scary right now. But like they say, by fear and yeah. So that's still my positioning. I think if we take out 41.29, I'd probably want to go to cash, and then we're looking for like a major retracement, and then we're looking for like 39.25, maybe 37.42 on the ES, right? I don't see it pulling back all the way back to like a real 61.8 to 29.44. Another level of support I'm seeing here is the COVID extension, right? So if you go from pre-COVID high to post-COVID low, what's going on with these fibs? I feel like they're on log. I don't want that. There we go. So looking at these fib levels, right? We're sitting above that 1.618, which is pretty good. We found support there before, and now we're still at 41.53, right? It kind of lines up with the range liquidity of that top, right? And yeah, so maintaining above these two levels for me is a good sign, right? I'd still say like I'm still buying calls and waiting for that rally to come in, right? If we get one more 61.8 failure, so if you get another rally up to like 43.66 and that fails, then I just want to get out and maybe open some shorts, but I'm not going to short support, right? I don't do that. All right, so that kind of covers the S&P, and I still think a lot's going to be contingent on what the S&P does, right? If I'm just going to stick to this analysis on the S&P. Let's cover BTC. It's a different order today, but I still think traditional markets are going to set the stage forward, whether we're going to be risk on or risk off, and everything in between. BTC got a lot of fibs on this chart. Just cleared it up for you guys and gals. It appears to be holding, right? It's bouncing. We're finding support again. Sub previous levels, and we did have a 61.8 here, which was a minor, right? We're trading below it. It held up that 37.9700. So bulls have to reclaim that before going back up, right? So bulls literally have to reclaim 39.700, and if they don't, it's not going to look good. I think last line of defense, we're looking at it. So, like, I'd say for this week, for the rest of this week to be any good for bulls, we need it. Like, these need to be the weekly lows, right? Like, I wouldn't want BTC to put in a newer low, and I wouldn't want the S&P to put in a newer low. To get an up move going, or else we're probably going to be testing liquidity. I was looking at BTC on the weekly, and I had like some trend lines going, and it's starting to look grim once again, right? Where like these weekly closes haven't traded below the weekly close trend line, which, I mean, we're basically at support, right? Like, this being the 61.8 makes a whole lot of sense, right? And we do want to see this hold. Today's lows hold, yesterday's lows hold. We want to see this level hold. We want to see a rally get fired up and get started. And I think that's going to come from, it has to come from both markets, not just one market on itself. I guess I'm not getting any comments from any of the chats, not Facebook, not TradingView, not YouTube, not TradingView. So I don't know if you guys are quiet or we're just not getting comments. All right, next up I'm going to cover Ether. And I did get a list of tickers to cover yesterday from one of our VIPs. He sent me like an extensive list talking about some calls, so I'm going to go over them and just kind of highlight my opinion. Ether definitely looking like it's got more momentum than BTC, right? I don't think it's taken out this last 61.8. It's still trading above it. So yeah, at this point, I'm thinking we're looking at the weekly lows. We should be looking at the weekly lows on BTC. We should be looking at the weekly lows on the ES and NQ, and so forth. All right. And if these lows start, if 2784 gets taken out, then let's start getting worried. It's probably a good spot to add to the ether calls that we have. Right, we're playing some ether options, so it's probably a good time to add to the 3,000 June calls on ETH. What's up, Cooley? All right, I'm gonna go over some of the tickers that were sent to me yesterday. He said maybe he couldn't possibly make the stream, and I like it because like these are some things I'm looking at, right? Like he asked about net, even though I did signal net yesterday, and he wanted to trade 85 calls, remove drawing. I don't know what. So Leo, you sent me a bunch of tickers and some calls, but not quite expiry dates, right? I think the expiry is going to be more important. Net is looking really shaky, right? It's looking really shaky. I would save some money and play like 93 calls, right? Because they're probably going to be cheaper than 85 calls. Because if this is going to turn around, it's going to close back above. Like if this weekly is a bear trap, it's going to close above 93. And looking at something like net, like this is Cloudflare, right? I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think the internet's going anywhere. I posted this was a good spot dip, so I bought some on spot yesterday. And if we dip lower, I'll probably go a little lower. For you guys in the chat, feel free to drop some tickers. Drop me any tickers you want me to look at. As soon as I'm done with Leo's list, I'll cover you guys' tickers. We'll cover Cisco. Winter earnings. I would wait till like post earnings on some of these, right? Like Cisco, I'd wait till post earnings. I'd wait till maybe Apple reports and some of the others report. I know Microsoft did pretty good. Market was waiting for that yesterday. I think Cisco can get down to 46, right? 46.34. So I see your $46 and I agree with it. Juniper, JNPR. Oof. I don't quite have an assessment on this one. I mean, it's definitely like, yeah, no assessment on this one. Sorry. Intel, AMD. I didn't think AMD can get as low it did, right? I wasn't expecting that. INTC. Jeez, these charts look so grim, man. This looks like a really compound head and shoulders. I'd probably want to wait for earnings too. They haven't missed a quarter in a long time. It's just a volatile chart, and it's a guidance that's the 28th. You're asking about a 44 call. I don't know. I don't know. No comment on INTC, AMD. Rough. Alright, so AMD, this looks more tradable. I don't like things that are in a range. I like things that have broken out of the range or down back into the range, that are experiencing liquidity. When something's range bound, it's illiquid, right? There's not as much pain happening. So AMD having rejected it 157 right as a top. We had 97 as support. We want to see a 61.8 hold, and I'd go on this range. And I mean, I'd want to see it close at 91, right? If I'm thinking we saw the low for the day, or for the week, then we want to see it close at 90, 91 by the end of the week. So if I was to play AMD, I'd play out of the money calls. I'd play 92 instead of 80s, save some money and can buy more time, right? And then IBM. This looks like it's a pre-breakout move. I know a lot of their revenue comes from the cloud. It's above the 61.8. You know, I was in it back here. I sold it at the 61.8. I think it's ready to break out. It does have a gap that's unfilled. 120C seems pretty good. That seems reasonable. Because, I don't think it should go back below 120. All right, let's look at PayPal, Facebook Coin. What's up? We got a Chad, straight up Chad, beauty bum, body bum, straight up Chad picture in the trading view chat. What's up? All right, so let's do PayPal. Man, PayPal getting decimated. Jeez. Another report today. I don't think they can. I mean, I don't know how much worse this shit can get on PayPal. Right? I really have no idea how bad this can get on PayPal. It's like below an all-time 61.8, right? Like that's crazy. And it's back at this COVID low, right? So, I mean, COVID outlook was really grim. We thought everything was going to go to zero. Let's use extensions instead of retracements. I'm going to extend that micro range. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. You probably can't. Yeah, I'd want to see 84 hold up. If not, then 76. I'm pretty sure they report today, and I mean, they started dumping on guidance back here, right? Oh, that was also a surprise, a negative. This one was surprise. So yeah, I think PayPal should definitely retrace back up. Like we have some gaps that are unfilled. Technically speaking, you know, we can go down to 76. I would wait till after earnings. Like literally, I think if somebody's buying the dip now, they need to understand that indices look like a great buy the dip for me. They look like a decent dip shopping opportunity on stocks, but also the earnings coming up, it's a gamble, right? It's a 50-50 shot, and that's critical. Just to keep that in mind, that everything's gonna be a 50-50 shot. Facebook's trying to hold. They do have earnings today too, and that's the thing. Like, you know, asking me to look at a chart right before earnings, it's like it's literally a 50-50. I don't know what earnings say. I'm not an earning whisper. I'm not an insider, right? But, you know, looking at this, it's drawn down quite a bit. And if we do a range extension, like this where I'd be looking for bottoms, places to counter trade. I think the last one I was using was up here. And it's below 183, below 182. They have to pull something out of the bag on earnings today. Whether it's a stock split or dividend, something, right? Because they're getting destroyed. Their ad revenue is getting kind of being up by Apple. So I've stayed away from trading Facebook for now. Let's look at coin. Coinbase still in the gutter, still selling off. You know, at this point, you know, I saw 142. I said, hey, 142 looks decent. A counter trade at this point, it's still pushing lower, right? So thinking maybe 110. 110 could be the trigger, the target. Probably 110, 116. What about this smaller extension here? You could see it start turning off of it. 122. I don't know what's going to make Coinbase do better. You know, is it going to be another bull market or what, right? Like crypto bull market? I don't know what's going to make the stock more appealing. What is it down off all-time high? It looks like it's down like 66%, right? From post-IPO all-time high, which is pretty bad. Fam, you got any other chart suggestions? Anything else you want me to look at? I was looking at Litecoin and it looked pretty decent today, where it was. I think this was this chart. Yeah, we're finding support at 99, right? So these charts are, I think everything's trying to find support. It's all going to be, once again, contingent on what I said last week, which is the ES finding support and rallying off these lows, right? We don't want to see the stock market go any lower because then we can get in some serious trouble, all right? You saw they're absolutely correlated. Risk is correlated. It's either on or off, right? And it's going to affect both markets. Yeah. So you got some other tickers requested. Looking at S, Sentinel 1. Oof, this, like, technically speaking, this looks like it's building momentum. Right, this looks like it wants to break out. Right, it looks like a descending broadening wedge. And hasn't quite broken out yet, right? But it looks like it's wanting to, or at least it's trying to. And in terms of a retracement, I'd say this is priming for a reversal, right? It's a good pick. I think it needs to get above 34. I'm gonna take notes on this one, and maybe I'll trade 34 calls, because if it does pivot and run, it should do good. And then I got another request for LDOS. Range bound chart, pretty hard for me to interact with. No comment. It's looking nice. Not looking very nice on nice. Let's get down to 191, right? I think 191 would be an interesting place to try to counter trade it. Maybe like 186. If you get a 186 wick, right? So this could probably break down to 186 and pull back, close above 191. If it's going to continue up, this would be the spot to grab it. Put an alert. I like this chart. And then GoDaddy. There's some kind of resistance up there. I mean, GoDaddy could push up to 100. We don't want to get caught in like an AMD type play where it got up there, but like never really, actually that one did hit target. I don't know. No comment on GoDaddy. I'm not sure what they do. I don't keep up with it. When do they report? They report earnings today, right? So, this earnings season has been funky. You look at Microsoft, and they were selling off in the earnings yesterday, right? And look at today, right? They had earnings yesterday at the close. Meanwhile, the stock's dumping, and then after earnings, it shot up. So I don't trust that like pre-earnings day of price action at all. Anybody else has a chart request? Let me know. If not, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back live again on Friday. Same time, same place. You guys smash that like button for me. And yeah, I'll see you guys on